Hello, everyone. It's me. Hello, Black Girls Golf. Hello, happy to see you. Thank you. Hey, Alfonso. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Now, everyone, this is my first time scoping in landscape. So if it looks a little weird or if I am looking to the side or something like that, that's why. It's not because I've gone completely nuts. It's because I am scoping in landscape for the first time. But one thing I want to say to everyone is hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sia Knight. I am the College Savvy Coach, and I help busy families plan, prepare, and pay for college. And the one thing I wanted to talk about today is I wanted to give you a college prep checklist, a checklist. Because the question is, are you doing what you should be doing in order to prepare for college? That is the question. And so what I have is I have a checklist that is really kind of separated into the 4 seasons and what you should do. Thank you so much for the hearts. I love hearts. They're great. And so before I get started, I want to say a couple of things. First of all, my name is Sia Knight, and I am a former teacher, school counselor, and administrator. And I've worked for students for about 20 years now. And I've done a lot of work with families trying to guide them through the college process. Even if you have been through the process before, if you did it back when I did it, back in the 1800s, things have changed a lot. So what I do is I provide families with the most relevant information about what to do and how to do it when it comes to preparing for college. So the thing that I wanted to give you today is I want to provide a checklist for you. So before I get started into the content, and it won't be a long scope, I just wanted to give you the content and let you go on to whatever you plan to do. It's about 7:21, so I don't know if you have plans for a particular TV show or what have you. It's Wednesday night as I tape this, so I want to give you the information and let you go. But before I do that, feel free to share this broadcast with someone that you think may benefit from this. If you have a friend, a neighbor, a relative who has a middle or high school student, make sure that you're sharing this information, and also make sure that you're following me here on Periscope, because what happens is I give information almost on a daily basis that will help make sense of this process and help to kind of wade through the overwhelming mountain of information that's out there. So today I'm going to talk about what to do and when to do it when it comes to preparing. Thank you so much for sharing. So what I want you to do is I want you to know that hey, Orit, that there are certain things you should do at certain times of the year in order to prepare for college. So the first thing that I want to talk about is what you should do in the fall. What should you do in the fall? And when I say the fall, I'm going to specifically talk about September, October, and November. Okay, so there are a few things that you can do during this time. If you are in grades 6 through 10, this would be a good time to identify activities to participate in. And also, this will be a great time for you to create or update your resume. So your resume is something that you may not just need for college applications. You may need it for scholarship applications, but also younger students need it if they are applying for different programs that they may be nominated for. So the fall is a great time to kind of get that going. So also, when we talk about October, This is the time students in grades 9 through 11, many times across the country, they're taking the PSAT. The PSAT. So the PSAT is typically offered in the United States. It's usually a Wednesday in October. And this is a very important test for juniors in particular, because this is the test that's used to determine who the national merit finalists are. And there's a lot of money associated with that. So when we talk about the fall, we talk about updating your resume. We talk about identifying and beginning participation in activities. And we also talk about the PSAT when it comes to students in grades 9 through 11. If you have a 12th grader, this is when most students take the SAT. So that's October, either for the first time or if they took it in the spring of their junior year, that's what I recommend. They will take it again in October. So keep that in mind when it comes to the fall. A lot of testing happening in the fall of the year. So now let's talk about winter. And I'm talking specifically, I'm going to say November, December. No, I've already said November, December, January, and February. So this is the time of year that I want you to keep your eyes and ears open for a financial aid event, because many times across the country, many school divisions and also some private organizations will host financial aid events during this time, because financial aid season starts in earnest January of the next year. So January 1 is typically the trigger point for financial aid season. So there are many events that happen during the winter. So keep that in mind. What else? When it comes to the winter, it's cold and you don't want to go outside and do too many things, but there are some things you can do from your computer. First thing I would say for students grades 6 through 12, do a social media audit. Do a social media audit. So if you are the parent and you have a child that's college bound, even if your child's not college bound, make sure that you Google schmoogle him or her occasionally, just to see what comes up. Now, if your child has a name that is similar to someone else who may be not of great character, guess what? You need to know that too. So I would say the winter is a good time to get that going, especially if you're a senior and you're going to be applying to college. So keep that in mind. Also, if you're a younger student, make sure that you have created an email address that you can use for professional purposes. If you're applying to colleges, if you are going to apply for scholarships, make sure that you have an email address that you can be proud of, that you're not honeyboo at hotmail.com. So do that. Make sure that you have that going. Also in January, make sure that you are taking a look at your semester grades. January, February, usually that's the time frame when the semesters are over. So I want you to take a look at your semester grades and analyze them and see what kind of adjustments you need to make in your work or study habits so that you can be poised and ready to have a strong transcript when it's time to apply for college. Now, when it comes to January, we're still in the winter. Okay. When it comes to January, what I want you to do, seniors, this is the time, if you haven't done so already, you need to log into FAFSA.org. Now, it used to be that FAFSA.com and FAFSA.org were rogue sites. They were owned by other people. But my understanding is that FAFSA, which stands for the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, that they have really taken over those domain names now. So make sure you log into the FAFSA website to find out what kind of information you're going to need to provide. And do that as soon as possible before the pot of money disappears. Okay. So let's talk about the spring. So even though it's pretty cold outside typically, but let's talk about the spring in terms of February, March, April. Okay. February, March, April-ish, right? So if you are an underclassman, grades 6 through 11, you're thinking about classes for next year, and that is perfect. I want you to take great care to make sure you're taking the correct classes for the upcoming school year. If you're a senior and it's February-ish time, I want you to make sure that you have completed the FAFSA, okay, completed the CSS profile if that's something that you have to do for the colleges that you have applied to. And that's another form or database to collect information so that they can determine, colleges can determine whether or not you are eligible for scholarships and such. And also, if you're a senior, I want you to apply to at least one scholarship per week. All right, I'm going to give you some time to sit back and meditate on that. At least one scholarship per week. Because I can't tell you the number of times I've had students who were very apprehensive as to whether or not they're going to get into their school of choice. And they got in. Yay, they got in. They found out. They're happy. They're elated. But it's March/April-ish. And they figure out that they are short. They don't really have the money to pay for the tuition. They don't have the money to fill in the gap. So they're asking at that time, April, going into May, do you have any scholarships? Do you have anything? And really, scholarship season starts earlier. So I want you to, if you are a senior, apply to at least one scholarship per week. And so let's move into the spring and continue. If you are, again, an underclassman, I want you to start thinking about different colleges that during the summer you may have the opportunity, or during spring break, to visit. Okay. And if you're in 11th grade, March is when I want you to, I'll talk about scholarship season. March is when I want you to take the SAT for the first time. And I'm not going to just talk about, I'm not saying that the SAT is the only game in town. In fact, in 2012, the ACT became the most used college entrance test in the country. But I'm just, for kind of simplicity's sake, I'm going to talk about just the SAT. Okay, so I would say March of your junior year, that's when you want to take the SAT for the first time. And if you're a senior, you should be comparing financial aid packages at this point as well. Okay, so let's move into April, May-ish. We're talking late spring. What should you be doing? If you are in grades 6 through 10 or in also 11, I want you to really start to finalize your summer plans. So March, April, that's when you should really start having hard and fast looks about your summer plans. Don't wait until May and June and say, well, gosh, what is Skippy going to do this summer? Don't do that, because a lot of the great programs, the application processes start sometimes as early as February. So keep your eyes open for that. If you're a junior, I suggest you take the subject test for the SAT. And some of you parents are like, what's the subject test? I have no idea. I suggest you take the subject test in May. Why May? because that's the time when a lot of people are preparing for AP or advanced placement tests, also IB tests. Okay, so why not take the SAT subject test at the same time as well? Okay, so we're moving to June and July, okay, and August. So this is the time when you are securing your internships, your apprenticeships, if you're an underclassman, and you are also thinking about kind of what college campuses, if you have the opportunity, you want to visit. Okay, so, and if you're a senior, hopefully you're squared away by May, June, and July, and that you have your plans in place. The one thing I do want to add to your list, if you're a senior, we're talking May, June, July, I want to talk to you about making sure that you are, you're preparing to help pay for college. Maybe this is the time for you to get a job. Maybe this is the time for you to start thinking about ways that you're going to help contribute to your education if you haven't done so already. So I want you to start thinking about that in June and July. Okay, so this is just a taste. This is just kind of a sample of the type of information that's going to be available during the College Savvy Academy. Now, that's my online academy that's going to drop, as the kids would say, that's dropping on Black Friday. Now, on Black Friday, I am going to offer the College Savvy Academy for less than 50% of what it will be next school year or next year, starting in January. But I am starting Black Friday. Everybody loves to shop. Everyone loves a bargain. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the opportunity to invest in your child's future by purchasing the College Savvy Academy. So there'll be 3 modules. One will talk about setting the stage or building the foundation. I'll tell you the 5 factors that will set you apart in college admission. Then the second module will tell you exactly how to round out that academic profile. If we say that academics are the most important thing, they are, by the way, what else makes a difference when it comes to colleges and universities and what they're looking for? So that's module 2. And the third module will be paying for it all. So I'll talk about the differences between loans, scholarships, grants. I'll talk about the FAFSA, the CSS profile. All of this is information that I am going to hand deliver to you, or not hand deliver, I guess electronically deliver to you, so that you don't have to waste time and energy wading through all of the information to find out where you go and what you do. So that will drop on Black Friday. Go to collegesavvycoach.com to get on the mailing list so that you can get one of the first spots, because this academy will sell out. So I want you to make sure that you reserve your spot. So collegesavvycoach.com, go there, sign up for the mailing list so that you can get the notification on exactly how to get to be part of this academy. So the question that someone had was about scholarship season. Let me say that scholarship season really starts in earnest around January, February-ish, okay? And it continues until about March or April. That's the heavy scholarship time. Now, I know it's usually over around April-ish and May, because that's when students often come to me and say, boy, I need some money for school. What should I do? I'm like, we should have done something about a few months ago. Where were you? So I want you to get started. I want your student to get started in actually January, if they can, to identify those scholarships that are available. And that's one thing I'll cover in my College Savvy Academy. I'll tell you the best places to look for scholarships and how you can find money with the least amount of competition and the highest rate of return based on what's asked. Okay, so that's it. That's all I have for this evening. Do I have any questions before I close out this edition of the College Savvy Scope? Now, this is the first time that I have done a scope in landscape. It feels a little weird to me, so I don't know. I may look at it back and it will be like the oddest looking thing ever. We'll see. So if there are no questions right now, I would like to say thank you so much for joining me, everyone. Make sure you're following me here on Periscope at Sia Knight. Also, make sure you sign up for the mailing list, collegesavvycoach.com. So until next time, everybody, stay savvy. Yay. Bye.